Hi, everyone. I love when people come and tell me that they can't hear God's voice or they don't think God speaks to them, because most of the time I get to show them how He actually has, how He does. And I almost always find a very specific example just in the things that they've told me in that conversation. And I want to share with you something that just happened a week ago with a class that I teach with high schoolers. And we were talking about prayer and all the different ways that you can pray and the types of prayer. And of course, one of the ways God speaks to us is through the Bible. And I wanted them to look up a Bible verse or even a catechism reference on prayer. So look it up. That's all the instructions I gave them. So use your phones, Google it, whatever, just find something. And then they all had to share what they found. Well, halfway through, somebody found this verse. So it's 1 John chapter 5, verse 14. And we have this confidence in Him that if we ask anything according to His will, He hears us. And the next person who was supposed to speak said, that was my verse. And I said, well, just read the next verse. That's fine. So the next verse says, and if we know that He hears us in regard to whatever we ask, we know that what we have asked Him for is ours. And the next person says, well, that was my verse. And the person after her says, what verse was that? Because that sounds a whole lot like my verse, which was something in Matthew. And I was able to stop and say, okay, we're talking about prayer and conversation and how we need to listen for God's voice and how He speaks to us. Do you hear what He just said? Like 4 people in a row had the same verses. And what they say is if we ask anything according to His will, He hears us. And we know that He hears us in regard to whatever we ask. And I'm like, here, right here, God just told you, you're praying, I'm listening. And I want to share that with you today. If you are praying, know in your heart, He is listening. God bless y'all.